Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the other side. I'm your host, Radiant. We're going to do something a little different. I like to support everyone in the community, no matter what you stream. And I may not always stream myself doing everything. I plan to broaden our horizons eventually, and just chatting is one I'd like to do. If you can hear me over the kid in the background. Hey, Blades. So today I think we're just gonna go over a little goofy things. Some of it's art, some of the works that I do that I find creative. So we'll get started on that. I hope you're having a good night tonight, Blades. So one of the things that I like about art and creativity is photography. So I have a few pictures that obviously have a lot of pictures of various things, but I have some photography that I appreciate. I'm really into masks, and I like to dress up, whatever it may be. So I like scenery photography and pretty much any kind of photography I like. So, but one thing that appeals to me are the various masks. I have a few. So these are just a couple that where I've got up in costume and not for Halloween, just for fun, for photography's sake. Some of these are a little older. Some of the work that I'm going to show is actually a lot older. It goes back about 20 years, depending on what it is. I have some old writings from when I was in school. I plan to read a little bit from them, and a lot of these are drawings that I had as well. Of course, there's a lot to photography that appeals to me, but I like to alter photos and just play with them. As I said, a few of these will be older, so a few years back. This is actually me with my son, so I just always liked it. One of the things that I was big on for photography is scenery photos, because I go out. I like to walk and just get out and hike and pretty much any kind of exercise. And we have nature center around here, which is a really large park, You can just go around and you used to be able to ride your bike. They don't allow you to anymore. But it's a lot of hiking and up and down, and I live in the Midwest, so it's kind of hilly and rocky, and it's just fun to get out. So, and I like to capture a lot of different scenery photos, and especially like fall. So autumn is a great season for me. I like to get out. Um, I like scenery from graveyards and you know other stuff like that. I like this one because this is kind of a mixture. I make jewelry too, but this one was for not for sale. It was one that I made for someone special, and it actually has my blood in it. So kind of kind of creepy but fun. So I like that. As I said, I have a lot more. When it comes to photography, I like to just go out and get as many pictures as I can anywhere. So I apologize if it's I had meant to kind of get some music and other things to go on here, but I got short on time and with everything with the event coming up. This is the gamers team opening event this whole week. So I'm gonna have that Discord link on the bottom of the screen if you're interested in joining. Definitely check them out. It's a great bunch of people that help and support each other, and they're there for teaming, and we have a place for pretty much anybody if you're a streamer or if you're a supporter, and especially if you're an artist. We love our artists and team gamers. It's actually something you can make a little bit of commission work from sometimes if you're good and enjoy it and want to. My art is nowhere near the caliber of theirs, but I do still like to draw, and I'll go through a couple of my old drawings that I used to draw a lot more than I do now, but I'll still do it occasionally. I'm one of those, I'll get into something and I just keep moving along, and I have to get back on it. But when it comes to creative, I pretty much do everything. I write songs, I do sing. I was in choir for every year that I was in high school and whatnot. So, as I said, photography, drawing, pretty much I like all artistic, and creative. Just anything you do, I appreciate. Usually, when it comes to me, now this is for myself, I'm a lot better with copying art in a way, so I can pretty much draw various things. I think I had seen this somewhere and I just drew it, kind of replicated it. So I thought it was cute. Hey Joey, thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. I seen that you had a solid 5.5, 6 hours singing or playing at least streaming. I hope you had a good night. I'm just trying to do my own creative thing here. I knew a lot of people would be a lot of people like yourself would be singing or maybe streaming current art that they did. So I thought I'd go over some old stuff that I've done a long time ago and just the various things I respect about art in the creative field. Yeah, I had thought about getting Twitch things, because I enjoy singing myself, but you got so many, I have so many things going on that I got to get around to it. It looks like a lot of fun, that's for sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure if Kim or I think Cryptic said that they were going to be on too. So I'll go for a while just discussing stuff. I have some really goofy stories that I wrote 20 years ago when I was in school. I planned on reading because they're horrible. But just kind of trying to go over all aspects of creative. So I kind of just started with the drawings. This is one I done because I'm really big into zodiac and astrology. So I drew this a while back. It's Pisces and Capricorn and Libra. It was a fun one. Like I said, not professional by any means, but um, a lot of these were when I was younger as well. So I just enjoyed drawing. I hand drew that, but obviously added a little effects. I was kind of crazy with that when I was younger. I'd add effects and take photos and just use whatever I could do to them. So I always, oh yeah, Joey, I understand. That's what I was saying like yesterday. It's like when I get up, you're one of the only ones on, so I'll lurk because I have a few things to do. But it's like, well, I'm gonna lurk and support either way. And thank you, your mom. So yeah, I totally understand that. Plus, you're in UK, so it's definitely late there now. It's like midnight. And I super appreciate you bringing your group in here. So I'm one for any and all support. If people just happen to come in and they just watch, you don't have to follow, you don't have to do anything. I want everybody to feel comfortable with what they do, and they just do what they want to do. I know for a lot of people it can be different going from certain, you want to support people, but you're going from one channel to the next, and it's not always the same content. So if you go in with the raid, I appreciate that as well. You're supporting Joey, in this instance. Oh yeah. To me it's creative, all of it. I appreciate food streams and other stuff. So it's all when it comes to creative, I'm just like whatever you want to do, have fun with what you're doing and do it. So I do so much when it comes to just creative things like crocheting and doing, making jewelry, just all of it. And it's just all of it's art to me. So thank you for that, Vivid. So speaking on that, oh, you're fine. Like everybody goes through, and when you're especially in team gamers, it's just hard to remember who you follow and who you don't, and that's perfectly fine. You know, I'm on all platforms, so I'm on YouTube and Facebook and Trovo and Periscope and DLive. So I never really worry if I get a follow from everyone everywhere, but I super appreciate that, and thanks for the support. Yeah, I'm alright with visual art. Most of the stuff I ever do, when it will come to like hand drawings, that's what I'd usually do, or painting. So I don't really have much of my paintings on here, but I have a few, just basic sunset. The thing I like to do the most is pour art. So I have a small business and I work. I pretty much any crafty thing, like I just do it all when it comes to that. So, but pour art and other things like painting to me is a little bit more relaxing. So it's just something I do to have fun. Nothing, nothing too serious or anything. That was a good play on words. Pour art instead of poor art. So I definitely feel that. So like I said, I'm from the Midwest, and that's where I live currently. Well, that was a pretty good joke though. You can't really hate that one. That was good. But so a problem with a lot here in our area can be whether people can afford stuff. Our median income, is not extremely high here in the Midwest. So I try to make what I do is affordable. Now, I usually work with nonprofits. So pretty much anytime I'll go to do something like make blankets or jewelry or this and that, and not necessarily painting or anything. Yeah, yeah, I'm in Missouri, so Midwest, and it's not a lot of people have a lot of money here. So when it comes to my small business, like I make furniture and I do all kinds of things, and I'll like repurpose it, or I'll go and get like pallet wood or other things. Like basically I'll work and make my materials really cheap so that I can pass along the savings to other people. Because a lot of people will want nice things, but they can't pay like hundreds of dollars for something, and I don't want to. I make sure I make money in my business, but that's one of my key things is try to make sure that people can have access to art at an affordable price. So, of course, I just do my painting for fun, but um, so like the furniture I make, I'm having slight issue with some of these, but so typically I make any, like I said, pallet wood furniture and Midwest furniture. So it's like very rustic, and like this is an example of a burned wood table. So it's Shosugibon, and I love this method. It's like waterproof, and uh, to me, it has a very much like building furniture can be is obviously very creative in its own sense. So that's why I like it. I still get my artistic bug out, but I really like the burned wood because it's besides the fact that it's like pest resistant and water resistant, and it just lasts for a long time. It's so relaxing when you burn the wood, and it's got a really, artistic feel to it when you're trying to complete it and do it. So it's one of the reasons why I like making them for furniture. Plus, it's a burned wood furniture in our area and a lot of areas is very popular. So you kind of just go with what people demand. Typically, they have a site where you can do silly stuff like that. It's a mature streaming site. So if it's on Twitch, I wouldn't do it. There they go crazy. But so yeah, like typically I'll make just coffee tables and end tables and other stuff like that. Just kind of keep that price in a range for people. And the thing like I like about burned wood is that depending on what wood you have, it'll drastically change its look. So they're pretty popular. And so I actually make furniture, by commission. So depending on what people want, I I'll do pretty much anything people want. But generally, I'm gonna when I make pieces just to have them, because like I said, I work with nonprofits. So what I'll do is instead of donating X amount of money to a nonprofit in my local area, I will buy materials and I'll make a whole bunch of furniture for them, and then they'll often have shows. So I attend several shows like arts and crafts shows, but also fundraising shows, and just go there and pretty much sell the furniture, and what all the proceeds go to these nonprofits. Usually I work with animal organizations because I'm a big animal lover. So I'm kind of crazy with it. I crochet kennel blankets for pets and all kinds of stuff. Just anything I can do to help. But that's a little bit north of me. See, I'm on the southwest of Missouri, but I rarely go to KC or St. Louis or anything. I rarely go up north anyways, but I do go to Columbia a lot. Columbia, Missouri is like way north, but they're a pretty good drive from here. So I'm like way south. Like I'm closer to like Arkansas and other places like that than I would be to KC because it's so far north. I like the area. It's a nice area. It's very there's a lot of old places to go to. So, but they're pretty modern, and a lot, the big towns are pretty modern. But it's nice that you can kind of get out and escape that. So, not all the things that I do will be like burned wood, you know. This is where some of that artistic or creative side comes into it. I like to do multi-tone wood and pieces. I'm kind of one of those that if someone's not specifically commissioning me to make something where they've told me they want everything a certain way, well, thank you for stopping by. Are you gonna do a real run, like an exercise run? So I'd love that. Okay, I gotcha. Well, you have fun doing that. That sounds actually interesting. So you have a good time doing that, and thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. So even further, something I'll do to make it just a little bit more affordable in our area, especially, is to not stain or paint or do anything else to pieces so that there's not that extra added cost. And then it gives them the option to do it if they want to. While I don't charge a lot for labor, I still charge for labor. Everybody has to do that. But sometimes those pieces are really nice because it gives someone the option to do what they want. And if they want to, they can. And if not, they don't have to. Some people often leave it like that. Of course, like I said, I kind of steered away from a lot of more furniture like this, even though it's extremely fun to make, and people really like it. A lot of it really can be more of a pain. Like I actually enjoy doing burned wood more because to me, it's just more artistic, and I just like all the benefits. When it comes to price, you're talking not too much difference in price, and for a customer, and I want to give people something that looks a little bit more modern, you know, not as much rustic. Although I love making rustic furniture, and my uncle, who I have worked with before, and he makes stuff too. He lives outside town basically, and he can get a lot of just random pieces of wood. So we'll like make various things. He's really good. He makes cedar beds and dressers, and he'll make a lot more various things than I do. I typically keep away from some of that because just like with any aspect here, when you add more to it, it's going to raise the price slightly. So I try to keep it basic. And when you use certain types of wood, obviously it can be a little bit more expensive as well. So when I do pieces like this, I think I sold this one for like 100, 125 or something like that. It's not bad. It may be a little bit harder to tell. A lot of the tables I make are actually large coffee tables. So if they look elongated like this, they're going to be like 4 foot long. So they're a massive table and super fun. Another fun thing I like to do. Oh well, if we can get it to pull up. So these are unique pieces. Not sure if you've ever seen or heard of a stove topper. So basically, I made these as well for people, for some customers, and they have handles on the side. You can hardly see it in the photo behind all these boxes. Um, but it works as a TV tray. So this is a dual one, and basically the sense of it would be is on one side it's completely flat, and what you do is this would be the bottom, which you can use as a tray, but you also can flip it up and it fits perfectly on top of your stovetop so that you have a cutting board and a space to work on top of your stove and gives you extra counter space. And when you're not using it as a tray, you can just obviously leave it on your stove to cover it up. But it also works really well as um, a cutting board and a prep station. So I like that. They're really convenient, and if you live in an apartment, you have a small kitchen, something like that, you don't have a lot of counter space. It's pretty good. They're fun to make. Of course, before I got into doing burned wood, I would do pieces more similar to this. So these are similar to my coffee tables, where they're 4 foot long, and they're a coffee table trunk. So I had seen and got the idea for those somewhere, and I was like, I kind of thought maybe a lot of people would want that extra space. I'm a lot on space, I always feel like I don't have enough space myself. So a coffee table is nice, but if you can happen to have just a little bit more, it's even better. So, and as I've said, I try to keep things a little bit on the cheaper side. So what I would do with these were they would not be hinged down or anything like that. So you didn't have extra money on hinges, you didn't have extra money on handles. But this is a 4 foot trunk on the inside, so it could fit a lot of things in it, and you would just essentially you could lift up the lid completely off of it and put whatever you want in it, and then just go right back down. So that's generally what I do now with my time with my business. Obviously, it goes more off of what's in demand and what people want, and I'll make any kind of artsy craft thing. But furniture is extremely popular for me to have to make, which is nice because I have fun with it, and I make big furniture, so this is like an outdoor chair, and couldn't find the photo. As I said, I was rushed trying to get as much as I could together for this little um, just chatting art creative stream, so couldn't find everything, but I found enough. So I made these. These are actually giant. Like the chairs were giant. Like I think they're 36 inches on the inside there. So it's enough for almost, two normal sized people could basically fit in it perfectly. And it was made out of old deck wood. That's one of the things I like to have the most fun with making furniture is the fact that it gives me a chance to do things that are creative to me. So I do repurpose things. I go to thrift stores. I go out to old, barns, just pretty much anywhere where I can get stuff. And I'll pick up anything I can for a reasonable price. Because as I said, I want to make things affordable for the people in my area. Just trying to support the local community. And especially when I'm uh, working with my nonprofits and doing shows with them in our community, I totally try to maximize my money so that I spend less but get more for them. And it's kind of nice to go around and you can clean up people's, if they have some old wood or something around, they clean it up and repurpose it and make it into something fairly nice. A lot of these things are going to be minimalistic. I don't do a lot of detail when it comes to my basic pieces, just as much fun as I can have with them without adding too much cost to the consumer. Have another piece here I enjoyed doing, just an island counter. So this one I did actually put on wheels and you have the cutting board on top. So it was really nice. I have something a little similar to that here at my house. So I kind of went nuts and did that here in my own home. Kind of redid everything and put real wood up on the walls, and I have a fireplace I did in, and I repaint like every room, and I like to work on things, so it's fun when it's not as much work as it is just a relaxing. I'm doing this for someone so they have something they enjoy. But I'm actually getting ready to remodel my entire kitchen, so that'll be a fun one. It gives me something to do, and I always enjoy something to do. I'm one that can get tied into a job and just sit there and do it for hours. So as I'd said before, my uncle and how we'll out in the woods in their area, we find several different pieces that we just make into stuff. So it just depends on what it is. This is a lamp I'd made, um, and it's one that it was one of my like top pieces. Like people love that rustic furniture here in our area, and it was a really fun piece to work on. And I definitely felt like I had another lamp here that I made. I had more fun with this one. I felt like this one was more of a creative piece than the other one. But this one was a burned wood. This was an example of going and taking a old piece and buying new parts and redoing it and making it back into a better looking piece than it was in the first place, honestly. So that's some of the creative side. I also do just like I said, when it comes to anything, I'll do any creative, anything creative. Just give me a chance to do it. So another thing I like about the burned wood is coloring it. Almost that's my last one here. So I like to color the wood different colors. You can pretty much do any colors you want. And then it's got that burned wood effect to it actually as well. So as I'd said before, waterproof. You know, I I don't use very many chemicals, so I actually use, oh, what is it? It's a safe style. Like this is safe to kind of eat off of. So that's like my big thing is to always make my furniture where it's as safe as it can be to eat off. So I don't like lacquer and certain chemicals. I try to get stuff that's plant-based and non-toxic. So as I have children myself, and when I make various things, even if people don't have children, as long as the price is relatively the same, I try to keep it in that whole, this is more organic and does not have toxic chemicals in it. And that's one of the things I liked about that. That, like I'd said, I love that burned wood. You have waterproof, pest resistant. There's a lot of things. People actually use it for siding. It's a Japanese art that they did. I had missed one here of other photography. So, like I said, all any kind of photography I like, I'll get out with the camera and try to take some. Have our fun little spider here. Ooh. Some of these are old. Like I said, I do not have a professional camera, so I just have a basic one that I use. And one of the other things when it comes to art, and one of the things I sell for my with my business is picture on wood. So, and it's not laser or any other kind of technique, so it's not burned in. It's just old rustic, and those are my kids a few years back. This is one of my favorite. I actually had gotten this drawing from someone for those because I'm a huge horror fan. Just I love horror, and I love cats. So there's a cat carrying a Krampus doll. It's fucking amazing. I put it on this vintage, on some wood, made it look all vintage. It's an old photo I've had passed down for centuries. That's what I tell people. So before we switch to food talk, we'll keep with this. As I said, I love making kennel blankets and baby blankets. I make baby blankets for friends and people. It's very odd. I'm a very crafty type of man, and a lot of people don't expect it from me. But there was just some things that, like I said, I love arts and crafts so much that there's pretty much not anything that you could mention to me and I won't give it a shot. Like I said, I sing, I write, I paint, I draw, amateur. It's an amateur level of a lot of these things, but I enjoy it so much. I just appreciate doing it. So, and that's an example. Those are several examples of just different things I done. The Some of those were baby blankets, some are kennel blankets. As I said, I like to work with nonprofits, so I'll just sit there and bust out however many. I'm actually exceptionally fast when it comes to it. So in the future, I don't have all my house got into a mess basically with I suddenly had my mother had to move in and whatnot, and it kind of got hectic and kind of lost some of my storage area, my creative area for a while until I moved this next year. But it was unexpected and we adapted, and that's all that matters. But since I don't quite have the setup that I'd like to have, I'm actually limited to some of the creative streams I can do. But once I do get that set up in the next 6 months to a year, I plan on doing a lot more creative streams where I just sit there and show how I learned and how I was taught on these things. And just to do it, period, on stream. I'm actually, unfortunately, limited as well. I would have done a cooking stream, but long story short, I had a part on my stove go out, and I pay for home warranty. So uh, it's kind of like insurance for those that don't know. If you have a home, and basically they'll repair or replace any part. Hey, Miss Dracon, how are you tonight? They'll repair or replace any part for appliances that you have, your air conditioner, HVAC, or anything like that. So home warranty is a good program. It's something that will um, cover products in your houses and appliances, and it's a small monthly fee. It's very similar to insurance, but your insurance won't cover a lot when it comes to your appliances or your actual HVAC unit or anything like that. So I have home warranty that covers all my appliances and everything, because some of mine are out of warranty by now. And the great thing about a home warranty on your appliances and other stuff like that is they cover them regardless of age. So you could have something that was like, say, a 6-year-old stove. Well, they'll still replace it and get you something equivalent to it, or they'll fix it for free. As most people know, a service call to a, appliance repair business is going to basically charge you for an hour or two's worth of work, and that's going to be, a little bit close to $100 to come out and look at something, and you take a risk of not really knowing, is it going to be a simple fix, or are they just going to have to replace it? They're going to come out and tell me you got to replace your whole appliance, and then you're looking at paying a service fee and replacing your appliance. So home warranty is good for that because it's supposed to avoid all that. But due to COVID, I have had such issues with my home warranty replacing this part in my stove. So my stove has been out for like a month and a half, almost 2 months. Like, I have no stove, haven't been able to do it. If I'd have known it would have been this long, I would have already I would have just bought a different stove or something. Cause like I have to eat very specifically. So I grill out or like have to cook on certain small appliances or crock pot food. Super inconvenient. And a lot of times I don't feel like doing that. So then we eat out and it's like, oh, this is all a result of home warranty not replacing my part, but hopefully they'll be getting it done soon. So otherwise we would have been doing a food stream because I absolutely love cooking. I have quite a few different recipes that I developed on my own. I tested them and altered them and got them tweaked right to the part I like. So when I do get that, I'll get all these things fixed and set up. I'll have a better setup to where I can stream a cooking stream or an artistic stream. But for now, those were examples. Also, really enjoy making um, jewelry too. But that was, I like this blanket a lot because I'd made it for my grandmother, which I always thought was rather unique, getting to make her one because she was older and didn't get to do that. So, and this is crafts from an older age too. So that's something I like, is just to be able to do something that, those that were before us, they did it, they had fun, they enjoyed it. Why not? So, and I like that one because I made it for her. I couldn't really find, as I said, I was like on such short notice, you know, here's some jewelry I make. You obviously can't see it very well. Um, One of the big things that I like about jewelry is, just like with everything else that I do, I try to make it as easy for the consumer to have. I want it to last a long time, and I want it to have easy usage, but I also want it to be really convenient for people, you know. So I really got into making adjustable. I got into this making adjustable ones so that depending on whether you're smaller or bigger, or whichever the case, you could get bracelets and anklets and whatnot, and they'd fit a variety of people. So these were fun, and these are just some fun ones that I do because one of the animal shelters that we have here, they have a thrift store basically, and they just share. They'll sell stuff, so all profits go to them and that store, and it's right next to their animal shelter and a shopping center. So the jewelry I typically will make just to take up there because they're able to sell it, you know. Again, like I said, for me, when I work with my nonprofits, I'm always trying to, get a deal on what I do and buy in bulk or something like that. And then that way I'm spending less, and then I'll make a whole bunch of something for them that they can turn around and they easily make, some money off of it. And it's really good. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But I'm not as I love the cooking because to me even that can be a slight art form. So I was pretty proud of this. It took me a while. I've cooked for years, and I enjoy it. And it's just a lot of home cooking, like Southern food, but lots of fruits and vegetables. I'm big on that. I'll eat anything. I'm not vegan or anything like that. Or I also highly appreciate vegetables and fruits and everything. I have try to have a fairly broad diet, even though I eat junk food too. But I was pretty proud of my homemade pie because one thing that I always have trouble with forever it seemed like would be meringue. You know, when you make that meringue and you can't really get it all right, and sometimes it'll get burnt or won't look good. And I was like so proud of that one because it turned out for a change. Um, and I do believe, cooking is another thing. It's very much a part of creative. So it's an art form. And a lot of people really have fun doing it and they put their own little twist to it. So it's really good. I really like art and food. So, but a garden is another thing that I love to have. I did not do one this year because I was so busy trying to get streaming set up that I didn't have time to do one because garden can be exhausting. But one of my favorite vegetables is zucchini. So, and I'll eat it kind of just about any way, you know. But zucchini, I have a zucchini muffin recipe, which you know, I altered it to where you could substitute it for pretty much any fruit because some people they hear zucchini and they're like, if you say zucchini muffin and they're like, what are you talking about? Like that sounds so gross. And I'm telling you, a zucchini muffin is like my absolute favorite muffin of all time. Like it's the best. Like it's just the person because I'm not like one that eats like cupcakes and stuff like that or cake with frosting, like a lot of stuff like that. I'm not like a big fan of something that's super decadent or super sweet. You know, if I eat it, it's gonna be a little amount. And the thing I love about zucchini muffins is they're just like the recipe that I got to is like the perfect sweetness to me, and they're just so moist. And like, I will literally make up like 100 muffins in one day because everybody that I like know that comes around, they're always wanting to eat these muffins. So it's like, well, if I want enough, I have to make like a whole bunch so that I actually get them, or everybody will eat them. But I'll make up a whole bunch, and they're one of those things. There's certain types of foods you'll hear people say that are definitely better the next day, and that's one where these zucchini muffins, like, we have a lot of Amish stores, and Amish stands, and they're kind of where I get some of my cooking from, and just the muffins are so good. Like they're something that you don't eat when it comes like directly out of the oven. Like you give it overnight and you eat it the next day. They're the best. Like you eat them in the morning for breakfast or anything. They're good. And I'll have to do that sometime on here because everyone always hassles me about my recipe. So I should make it on stream one time. It's pretty bad though because a lot of the things that I do, whether it be singing or this and art, whatever it is, I'll have so many people that are in my life that are supportive and they're like, you really should do something. But when it comes to those muffins, people are like, you need to fucking sell those. They're like, you need to go out to places when because we have like food shows. I'm like, you need to sell them. I'm like, I don't know. I need a better kitchen to do that than if I'm gonna make a bulk. About 100's about the most I make in a day. But I definitely like peppers and cooking with stuff. And I don't always eat like really, really hot peppers. So I like gypsy peppers and a lot of different things and pretty colors and it's very creative, very, very artistic in its own way to me too. So clearly you can tell peppers and tomatoes and zucchini were about all I grew. I would grow squash and do other stuff. So, but it's just when it comes to what's easier to grow, I don't know about anybody else, but for me in our area, it's easiest for me to grow tomatoes and zucchini and peppers. I could grow peppers all day, every day. Like we have the perfect weather for that. But a lot of people eat a lot of tomatoes, so trying to see something here. Okay, not a white screen. So, but as I said, currently a lot of these are a little older. And currently I pretty much make furniture. So, the fun stuff. I'm definitely have too many hands in different pots though, as I'd say. Is I do paint and I do draw and I do all that. All the drawing, a lot of that drawing was a few years back and just for fun, just nothing too serious. Let's see, just like the writing. I do have, let's see here. Had a had a few more old drawings. These are rather old, so hang on here. I don't have all these over digital, but I thought I'd show a few of them anyways. All my cats, all weird like. It's a weird effect. Weird little guy. So, and then I found a notebook when I was like younger in high school that again, I haven't put all these over or anything, but if you like Aqua Teen, Hunger Force, I got in a craze about drawing it for a while. Mind you, again, this was 15, 20 years ago, so I haven't drawn anything like it in a while. Oh, I think you used the word that doesn't exist. Disgusting. What song? Probably I could react about anything, I guess. But I don't know what song you're talking about. You always have fun. People come through. That was pretty much about it. Again, not many. Just amateur. But I am trying to promote the gamer community and their events, and this is their event for the day, is just to go on. Try something new. Try something different. Don't just do the same streams, gaming streams. So, and as I said, I'm not completely set up to do everything, but still have fun. Show a few of the things I have. Oh, who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. If you're asking me for like a diagnosis, I mean, I assume just like trolling, they're getting on the whole gamer thing, which is always nice. This is something. Obviously, I apologize about that. I have a small time streamer. Have to moderate my own chat. But Yeah, I know they kind of ripped on how gamer was spelled that way, and then they said disgusting. The C, which it's all good. You know, people go through and they're a lot more toxic to other people than I get it by far. So I still kind of lucky. Besides, honestly, it doesn't really matter what people say. They were wanting me to do like a something about a song. And it's like, oh no, I'm not really doing that. But yeah, they came in the first thing they're being rude, so that happens. And this will be a good one to be. You don't even have to. People don't have to be rude. You get to. These are very old art and old writing. You got plenty of material here to work with and make fun of without being rude. But like I said, I'm on multiple platforms, so it gets to be where I have to moderate chat on each one, and that's fine. Because like I said, I hardly ever have any problems with people, but you get it occasionally. I'm actually gonna take like a 2 or 3 minute break for a second, like an intermission, and I'll be right back, and I'll continue with probably the most embarrassing part. Like I said, I have some stories I wrote that I was gonna read as part of the creative writing for the stream, and they're very old. These are like 20 years old. So when I was very young, very naive, so they're kind of comical. Can't believe I even wrote them in a way, but I mean it makes sense. It sounds like me. So we'll be right back. Should have definitely apologize about that. And people coming through here. Only everybody feels, they have a place here, Doesn't matter what race you are, what sexuality or gender you choose, or anything like that. You want to, rip on people just for being goofy or something, that's fine, but still kind of learning how to moderate my own channels everywhere, so new to streaming in general, and that is something that's new to me, so but I'll get it on each platform. I was on Mixer and I switched and was like, I don't really want to just be on one platform. I don't care about affiliates as much and partner quite as much. I mean, when I get to that point, I'd think about it more, but since they don't allow you to stream to multiple platforms at the same time when you are affiliate or partner, I kind of stuck away from that. I guess so. So, like I said, I wasn't completely ready. A lot of my stuff was in storage, and I don't have the proper setup at the moment to do the creative stream out on the stove. So, I just thought I'd show some pictures of some of that, and what I do, and the work I do that I consider to be creative. But now a little bit more fun because I wanted to fill in a little bit of time. I hadn't really planned on streaming tonight because I didn't have many means of doing anything interesting, and I most likely will join in a team game or Discord maybe later or something if they're doing a food chat and sit there and just discuss stuff with them there because I enjoy that too. Eating habits everybody has and what we all like. But yes, before we do that, I have a few. I have a few stories that, like I said, some that these vary. They go from like when I was in middle school. So the oldest would be like probably when I was in middle school or before. I think it was like in sixth grade or fifth grade. And it was a short story I wrote. It's horrible, but it's still fun because it fits into that creative writing section. And then some is just schoolwork where I wrote various projects and essays, and some of them are just they're pretty bad. I feel I feel pretty bad I wrote them, so but I'm gonna read one of them. I don't. This one's one. I'm not really sure what the topic was. I believe this was like in '96 or something. So you just gotta keep in mind these were back then. Of course, I got an A on this paper. I don't really understand how I got an A in it. I don't think they let you go on about it in school now, but maybe. So. So this first paper, as I said, it was an essay, so I'll just read it. I'm just gonna read these, and they're not the best, so we'll have some fun and maybe a little laugh at the silly shit I used to write. So, and this is how it starts out. There's no real structure to this, but it's like, in my opinion, teenagers are mostly accused of doing drugs more than any other action. Yes, this is illegal, but should it be? In mine and other people's minds, it should not be. However, there are always going to be those against it. Can we discuss for a moment the different types of drugs? There are many different types of drugs. Just to name a few, There's marijuana, heroin, cocaine, mushrooms, crack, crank, speed, and last but not least, hash, because apparently that's all that existed then. Also, there are different types of pills like Valiums and Percocets and Demerol, and none of these are spelled correctly, really. Just to name a few. Today, they are homegrown, over the counter, or found on the streets. That metaphor is used to talk about people that roam the streets selling drugs to people, because that's what I thought everything was then. So, possibly they are very addicting and should be avoided, if possible. They can also be very harmful, and if you have ever tried these substances, then you would know this. Today, organic and non-organic drugs are often taken in several different ways. They also cause problems like lung cancer and paranoia. Let's discuss the different ways of getting these substances in your blood systems. And mind you, this was for a school project. Drugs like pot, hash, and crank are often inhaled in the system and by breathing in the smoke. Not accurate. Mushrooms and speed are usually taken orally. And then I felt the need to put swallowed through the mouth in parentheses. It says others are inhaled and more often through the nose or nasal cavity. The popular drugs are sometimes injected through a syringe, which was not spelled correctly either, with a needle into the system directly. This is horrible for being a school project. And I got an A. I don't really understand. Another commonly overused and highly dangerous drug is acid. This drug is probably one of the only drugs that can be assumed, not consumed, but it's the only one that can be assumed into the body more than one way. I feel like I should have known how to spell this if I was writing about it. Although most people think drugs are bad, some are not. The substance pot is sometimes smoked by people with cancer to try and kill the pain. Also, many abused painkillers like Demerol should be used in hospitals and hospitals only, not in the convenience of some addict's home. Even though these drugs are often abused, maybe we should not have them available until we can learn to use them right. And I got an A. That's beyond me that I got an A in the 90s for writing that about drugs. I wonder if she thought he's pretty fascinated about drugs at such an early age, apparently. And then at the end, I proposed, would we be able to give up things that people are willing to kill over? Would we be willing to give those up? So, yeah, that's pretty bad. I was an odd child. I had another one where I wrote basically that Bela Lugosi and Vincent Price, and then they're the best vampires, and I'm not really understanding what that one was about, but I had the correct terms paper that I wrote, and like I think this is middle school. And it was pretty bad too. I thought it was like, I lie on the bed. My dog was lying down. Last week she lay on the bed. That is not right. The fruit had lain there for a month. I'm going to lay down my books. The mail was laying there. It just laid there. She had laid it there earlier. Static electricity makes your hair rise. The cake was rising. The temperature rose. It smelt. This is one of the worst ones. It smelt like it had risen just a minute ago. I don't even know what that's about. It smelt like it had risen a minute ago. That's bad. The sun was rising, the man raised over his head, the car payments have raised. He decided to sit down. He was sitting, it sat there all day. It sat there all day. He set the books down. It was sitting there. It sat there for a long time. This is really bad. And then she set it there a long time ago. I just pretty much repeated myself, it seems like. They've definitely changed lesson plans since when I was younger. That makes you feel old when you say that. And it is only 20 years ago, but it makes it pretty old. I was not obviously when I was younger, like in our auditorium, they would do those reading events and writing events where you could write short stories, and they would give out ribbons to kids depending on if they liked your garbage or not. I'm trying to find. I have like a couple more, and then a really old story. Okay, so this was an English paper too. It was a long time ago. Like I said, mid '90s. So that was a pretty bad one. So today was the last cruciating day for the jurors in the murder case involving John Doe. At first, the jurors thought it would be easy and fast, but it was quite the opposite. These are some comments from a couple of the jurors at the press conference. "It was the longest and most violent time I've ever spent with 11 men," said the foreman. "They made me change my mind. I was the only one with any sanity, and they made me lose it." And they screamed it. Comment made by juror number 3. "Even from the beginning, I knew that poor boy was innocent, but that stubborn juror number 3 wouldn't listen, and it took us forever," said juror number 8. It's horrible. The 12 jurors finally found the boy innocent after a long and hard period of time. So, that was like the basis of that story, which I have no idea why that was really a story, but we'll go with that. And before I continue, the Discord for Team Gamers is down in the bottom corner. If you haven't joined, check them out. They're really inclusive, great group of people. I also have the link for Extra Life. We're trying to raise some money for Children's Hospital and Extra Life. So if you happen to want to go check that out, that'd be greatly appreciated. And I thank you all for every bit of support you give. I know it's a little difficult, and this is a rather odd stream, but we're just trying to have fun with some creative here. And I do appreciate all that support in any way. So apparently I had further to say about this story though. So what I wrote upon the story in the writing options was, yes, because for the time period especially, the men, especially juror number 3, would have said the woman's vote was dumb and idiotic and would have tried to force them to change their vote. And since them being women, they could have got scared by the screaming and actually changing their vote while thinking otherwise, making it an unfair trial, possibly sending an innocent man to jail. It was, oh no. I don't know what I was thinking when I was writing that shit in school. And here was just like, you can tell I was just so just disturbed. As the large crate falls into the water, it fills up rapidly. As I try to make my escape, I realize it's taking me longer than usual. It feels like finger grips, so I rush to get it loose. As I barely make my escape, I can hardly breathe, but I made it anyways. So dark. Not even sure why I really saved a lot of these. Some of them had even had notes from when my peers would read them, and then have their notes and answers in it, and it would just be like yes, no, yes, yes, no. And the way he went on and on about drugs, that's what that one was like. He wants to get the information out apparently. So these next ones, they're a little bit more like they were the short stories that I wrote. So they're really bad. Like when I was younger, and I tried to, this one's a horrible example of how I tried to, expand my vocabulary and did not succeed very well. So, but the story just in general is just so bad. These next ones, they progressively get worse. So, with the last one being the absolute worst, and again, I'm not sure why I kept it. I wish I would have kept a lot more of them that I could have showed on here. So when I was younger, they used to sell these things, and it was just a blank book, and the cover would be white, and the pages were all white, and basically, you know, when you're about 10 to 12 or so, and a little younger maybe, you could draw on them. So I would draw like I drew the art for the covers and pages throughout, and then I'd write stories about dragons and different fantasy, whatever, whatever. Who knows what I was even writing about? I wish I had some of those, or some of the ones that I like entered into contests, because that'd be crazy to see if they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, you get a blue ribbon for that shit." It makes me want to be like, what was I going against if it if I'd get a blue ribbon and they didn't? So, well, I'll start with this next one, and as I said, these are just horrible. So excuse if they're dumb or yeah, the mid '90s young kid. So this morning, Bob woke up and could only see oblivion. So he got off the couch, distended a little bit, and then turned the light on. He headed to the refrigerator, which was past the alcove. Have an alcove in their house. After having breakfast, Bob decided to take an expedition to his haven down the road. As he passed the obsolete black and white TV, he got a look of loathsome on his face. As he opened the door, he accidentally ran into his friend, Frank. Frank got up. Frank got up. I mean, yeah, he was outside at the door. So we opened the door, and Frank got up with tears coming from his lameral. Bob tried to lament, but Frank ran off. Although his haven was just down the road, it was in a different part of town where the Cantonese people lived. Bob remembers how last month him and his friend were walking down the road and the diabolic police pulled over and began beating him up, tossing him around like he was lighter than tear. They also made them writhe and injected them every time Bob spoke. But today, Bob did not preen, so they probably wouldn't recognize him. It was, a month ago, anyways. Bob believed that the only way to memorialize. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I know what I was saying here, but memorial was to practice. Bob was aesthetic to his work and did it deftly. And although his drawingness were non-collinear, he put them together perfectly. He was feeling a little zippy and decided to draw some. Soon he would have a specimen of his life's work without being a travesty. That's poor Bob. And poor Frank. What was wrong with Frank when we walked to the door and he just started crying? I didn't really run into him. So Bob accidentally ran into Frank and it just made Frank cry and he ran away. It's bad. It's really bad writing. Well, it's semi cute, but it's really stupid. I read these now and I'm like, do these don't even make sense to anybody. And mind you, I'm trying to read, and I had fairly good print when I was younger, but not always the best. I would write pretty bad. It's a little bit hard to read these in their original forms. Although, pretty handwriting. Well, nothing else besides this. Fun reading. Reading of my old pages and writings when I was in school. After that, I might jump on with if anybody in Team Gamers is talking food or something, I might come in there. Oh, okay, Capra. I don't. Is it called chit chat then instead of just chatting on Trovo? That's what that is. I'll do that. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I use Restream, so the format's a little different, and it didn't have just chatting, so I thought I just blanked it out, but apparently it kept Dead by Daylight on there. So thank you, I appreciate that. I, of course, was just looking for just chatting and couldn't find it. As I said, new to everything and streaming general, and new to Restream especially. So I appreciate it when people come through and are helpful and not rude. I really appreciate that. Well, I think we can continue with one more of these stories here. Didn't even think to click on it. I have most of the tabs run on my PC, but Trovo I run on my phone, my mobile. So I like this one because apparently I felt that even though I wrote this 20 years ago or more, it kind of fits in with what is going on currently. But I didn't get as good grade on this one. Go figure, especially in this area. But it is another English paper. The final paper I'll read is a short story that was horrible. But this one is just an English paper. So it says discrimination happens all the time and there's nothing much we can do to stop it. Everyone gets made fun of at some point in their life, and it's not right. Even if you're just teasing or being serious, it makes most people feel bad. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. People get made fun of at all ages. For instance, if you're in a gang, people don't understand how that might be the only thing you know how to do or are used to. Most people think everyone in a gang has to either be black or Mexican or some homely person. Lots of gangs have white and other colors of people, but that doesn't make gangs right. Ugh. People are also discriminated against because of their gender. They're discriminated against in the army and on the job. There are lots of women and men that can't get jobs doing certain things. Like most women don't play professional football for a living. Also, most men don't sew for a living, but that doesn't mean that they can't. What if you thought that dressing up in tight pants and a type of dress shirt was nice, only everyone else either sags or wears big baggy clothes or wears cowboy boots and Wranglers, and possibly then you may look weird, but you'll get made fun of because you're different. That doesn't sound right, but people will still do it even if it does feel comfortable to you. This is bad. Um, the only way we can stop discrimination is to destroy everything on earth. But since that's not going to happen, I guess we need to teach our younger generation that discrimination is not good. Not everyone is going to do that, and until everyone is perfect, then I guess we can't live without any discrimination. So, to any poor, black, white, druggie, or any other social class, there is no way out of discrimination in this day and age. This was. Oh. You could tell I was not the best at writing. I have my outline for it, which was just, introduction, stopping discrimination. We stopped it. Everyone's discriminated against, even have peer pressure. These are bad. Although it does still fit that we shouldn't judge people. It's kind of comical. I was writing about that 20 years ago, about how police are beating you up and people are making fun of everybody, and it's horrible. 20 years later, 25 years later, people are still upset about it. And for the record, that was not a political piece or anything to me right now. It was a piece of crap writing I did when I was in school, like middle school. So that's pretty bad. Oh, I said, what if you wanted to wear tight pants and a dress shirt, but everybody else wore baggy clothes and cowboy hats and shit? Because that's what they did where I grew up. So I had to fit that in there. And it was pretty stupid. So this vital piece that I have, and I want to say I do appreciate everybody coming through. I didn't have the best setup. I wasn't able to stream and cook it, and I don't have the proper place to stream anything like painting or art of any kind. But I thought it'd be fun to still get on here. We're promoting the opening of the official opening for Team Gamers, so just an inclusive group that likes to support everybody. We have a streaming and a supporting and an art section, so those are all fun for us. We like to, just promote different kinds of streaming, and I do too. Just anything anybody has fun streaming. It's important to me that people get to have fun doing what they want to do. So, just quality content and have fun. I'm gonna try to read this last one. This was a bad one. And this is probably the oldest paper I have that I had wrote a short story to that's atrocious. But this one was in more of a story style setting. So it's called New York City Robberies. This happened a lot. So, one moment. And I'll read this short story without much break or anything. So, just try to get this horrible mess done with. For the third time, New York City has been robbed. Some say it's the Phantom. In this story, you, David, Justin, and Philip will find out who it is. On the way, the three investigators will run into trouble. Let's hope they get through it. New York City. Oh, okay. So this kind of gives a timeline of when I wrote this. So New York City, 2/23/93. The three investigators hop on their dirt bikes and dash off. They heard the siren of the bank. Somebody broke in. As the boys arrived, so did the cops. Is anybody hurt? Yelled David as the boys ran into the bank. No, said a cop. A few hours later, when the boys got nowhere, they went back home for supper. New York City, 2/24/93. The boys woke up in astonishment, for they had heard a lady screaming. That's pretty close. The boys hopped up and got dressed. When they got outside, two men were running down an alley. Justin, you help the lady. See what was stolen. Me and Philip will meet you here. I guess back there. David told Justin, and with that the two boys ran off after the men. When the boys got sight of the men, Philip said, you take the one on the left, I'll take the one on the right. At least I knew my right and left then. Okay, said David. They sped up and hit the guys by surprise. The impact from the concrete knocked the guys out. When they took the guys back to the street, Justin was there waiting. Only some old photos of the museum was stolen, Justin said. Did you call the cops? Asked David. Yes, they should be here in a few minutes. By the time the cops got there, the guys had just woke up. You guys okay? Asked the chief of police. Yeah, the boy said back. Thanks for catching these guys. They're probably some of the Phantom's hitmen. After the boys answered a few questions, they went home for some sleep. It's a long day. They slept and woke up and then slept. New York City, 2/25/93. The boys got up earlier and rode to the police office as they entered. David asked, what did you find out? The men won't talk. We found out their names, though. Oh no, it's Frank and Joe from the other stories. Oh. So it's Frank and Joe, said Lieutenant Lawrence, who was the boys' friend. Later, the boys went to see the men for a few minutes. While they were in there, Frank spit on David's new shirt. David hit him right in the eye. Frank's eye started to bleed. Lieutenant Lawrence ran in with 2 doctors and said, "Why did you hit him, David?" "He spit on my new shirt," said David. David smiled when he said, "Let's go out, guys." So they did. Later, right after the boys left the restaurant, 2 men ran by a lady and a man stole their wallet and purse. Philip and Justin went to the people, and while David chased the guys, David chased them in an old warehouse. David tackled one of the men. "Ow, help," yelled the guy in pain. By the time David got up, the other guy was waiting with a knife. Smack. David kicked the knife right out of his hand and kicked the guy right in the head. Oh. Oh my gosh, this is really hard to it's hard to read writing from 20 some odd years ago here. He kicked the knife and he kicked the guy right in the head and out of the man's mouth as he hit the ground. When David turned around, the Phantom stood there with a gun. "It's the Phantom. You ruined my plans of stealing purses and wallets from people. You ruined my plans. Now I have to kill you. Ha ha ha." Then he shot. The shot was meant for the chest, but Justin and Philip took the husky man down, and the bullet hit David right in the shoulder. New York City, 4/29/93. It's been a month now. Okay. It's been 2 months and 3 days. David got out of the hospital. "How about we go eat?" asked David, and they all laughed. The end. That's like the worst story. And I wrote that 20 years ago. That is so bad. I literally mentioned how these boys are eating and sleeping like 3 different times. They're like, "We woke up, we went and solved the crime. Let's go home, go sleep." And then the guy spit on his shirt in the interrogation room. And David fucking punched him. And they said, "Why'd you punch him?" And he said, let's go out for food. Let's go eat dinner." And then they all went and ate. And then when they were leaving, somebody's trying to steal a wallet. They foiled all those plans. You ain't gonna be stealing people's wallets and purses around here, Phantom. Not in New York City. Not with David and Philip and Justin riding their fucking dirt bikes through the streets of New York City, solving bank crimes and petty theft. But I'll admit it was better than that drug paper that I wrote and got an A on, which didn't make any sense. And that was pretty bad. So I appreciate everybody coming through and listening to me. And if you just sat and hung out, if you showed support in any way with a raid, thank you, Joey, for the raid very much. If you followed, like I said, if you just hung out, I appreciate it. It's much better than people being negative. And even that, we just kind of pass along. So, but it was fun. Like I said, I didn't have much of a setup, but I definitely wanted to get on here and promote Creative Day because we really appreciate all the hard work that our creative department does, and we want to show our side of that. We all have it. As I said, I can amateurly do a few of the different fields, but I thought instead of singing or dancing or putting on an outfit or a costume or doing anything else, I thought it might be a little bit comical to have everybody see what I was like when I was younger, and I didn't make a lot of sense. So, but it's fun. Hopefully, if you watched, you got a little bit of a laugh. Uh, So I appreciate your time and coming through and hanging out. And I think I'm gonna get off here, try to join up with one of the food chatting streams that they may have, because that's appealing to me as well, and it's all part of creative. And they're probably gonna have a little bit better setup than me, so it'll be nice to host or do whatever. So I thank you for coming by, and we'll be on later with like a gaming stream probably, or tomorrow. I'll go back to gaming for a while, but we're pretty busy this whole month. The gamers have events planned for pretty much most every day. We got something going on, so we had coffee talk on the first, and the second we had Smite practice, sorry. And then today it was creative. So I think tomorrow they're gonna do a watch party in Discord. That'll be fun. Hey Fancy, you missed it. You missed all my drawings and paintings and silly ass writing, short stories I had when they were like 20 years ago. I wrote them when I was like in middle school. They're really fucking stupid. So I thought I'd read them on stream for Creative Day. How's your night tonight? I was getting ready to get off here in a second. Pretty much just talking to myself at this point. But it was still fun. I wanted to go on. Yeah, I was showing my art and photography and whatnot, so just having fun, showing some of the things that I currently do for a living that are artistic and creative to me. But for now, I'm gonna have to get off here and eat, and I have company that just came by, so I want to thank everybody again that came through and hung out, showed your support during this really silly, just chatting amateur art stream. So everyone, you have a good night.